as you guys have probably heard, the Obamas have, I guess, endorsed Kamala Harris. Finally. But I found myself asking the question, why did it take them so long to publicly come out and endorse Kamala? Why did it take them so long? Because a lot of other folks, including Hillary, came out early on and endorsed Kamala. Why did the Obamas take so long? And I think I may have at least one of the reasons why it took them so long. Let's dive in.
So I want to take a look at Trump versus Democratic margin. Just remind folks where we were at the end of the 2020 campaign. Joe Biden won voters under the age of 35 by 21 points. What do we see with Kamala Harris? Well, she's still ahead, but the margin here is significantly less than what we saw with Joe Biden back in 2020. She's up by just 9 points. You may make the argument that was better than Biden was doing before he got out, but compared to that Democratic baseline, where Democrats have historically in presidential elections, at least this century, been carrying that young vote by 20 or more percentage points, she is way down from that. So if this is unique support among young voters, I would like to know what non-unique support is. Is it even worse than this?
Is she doing better than Biden was, though?
She was doing slightly better. Maybe Biden was up by, like 6 on average or 5. This is maybe slightly better, but this is not game-changing stuff, Mr. Berman.
All right, what have we seen in terms of motivation?
Yeah, so, the other thing is we talk about vote choice, right? But let's also talk about motivation, right? Because it's not just who you would support, it's whether or not you come out to the polls. And this, I think, is rather interesting. Do Democrats say they're more motivated to turn out after Biden left the race? Well, we do see a significant portion of Democrats who say yes, 39%. The thing I was interested in was it disproportionately younger voters who said that they were more likely to turn out or more motivated to turn out. And what we see here is it's 42%. Not a big difference between 42 and 39%. So this idea, again, that the vice president has unique potential to dig in and get young voters to turn out, John, it's just not there in the numbers despite all the internet memes that are going around.
At least not yet. And one of the issues has been, Harry, this trend, which I think you were among the first to point out. Young voters have changed or say they are changing in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, oftentimes it's difficult to go against the grain. Kamala Harris may be fighting uphill. So I want to look at party identification again. Voters under the age of 35. Go back to 2020. This is the Pew Research study. This is one of the best studies that we have. And look at that. 56% of young voters said that, in fact, they were Democrats. They identified as Democrat or lean Democratic. You look down at 2024, it's 49%. Look at the Republican jump from 39 to 49%. So when we say that Harris is doing worse than Biden, it's not that she's uniquely bad. It's rather she's fighting uphill. She's trying to fight against a wave that is going against the Democrats among young voters. And Harris may be unique in some ways. Maybe she does slightly better than the generic Democrat, but not all that much better.
Yeah, what this was shaping up to be a generational shift. The question is, was it just about Biden? Or was it about his administration? We may find out soon.
We may find out soon, but at this particular point, it doesn't look like Harris is going to be able to fight against the grain too much, Mr. President.
So that's just one reason. And, while her numbers did improve, and I think I said that in a previous video, that the race would become closer. That's to be expected. It's a new candidate and everything. But the thing that I don't think enough people are talking about is this. We're still in, the honeymoon phase, right? The videos showcasing how terrible she really is haven't really begun to come out yet, right? I know for myself, I haven't even released all the videos that I want to release on how terrible she is. So stay tuned, because I got some videos on Kamala that real bad, real bad. So even being in the honeymoon phase, you still aren't beating Trump at this point. Yeah, you make the race a little bit closer, but you still aren't beating him. And you saw in the numbers there, yes, she improved, but we got to remember, Trump barely lost, right? So if you can't replicate, goodness gracious, I'm talking like Joe Biden. If you can't replicate at least his numbers when he barely won the last time, you're cooked. You're not even close to his numbers from 2020. Yeah, you're better than his numbers from, just a couple months ago, but he was already projected to lose. That's why y'all wanted to get rid of him and skip over democracy. You know, coming from the party that talks about democracy all the time, you just replace the candidate that everyone voted for democratically. But anyway, we're still in the honeymoon phase. So for me, and I'm going to say this now, I see her numbers peaking right about now. And as we get closer to election, they're going to start to do this. They're going to slow, not as fast as Biden's, okay? Biden was a sinking ship. I mean, it was 5-alarm panic, obviously, because they got rid of the guy. It was 5-alarm panic. Everybody abandoned ship. We got to get out of here. This thing is going down, and it's going down quick. We're taking water on board. Below the deck is already flooded. This thing is about to go down at any second. Okay, that was Biden's situation. Kamala's situation isn't that dire, but it is sinking. It just hasn't. Not everyone's aware of it quite yet, right? They hit something and there's just like a small hole right now. One of the rooms down below is filling with some water. It hasn't affected the ship quite yet, but very soon it's going to really take on some water and it's going to start going down under. That's my prediction, but here's another set of polls that I want you guys to see. Check it out.
CNN senior data reporter Harry Enton joining me now to run the numbers. A lot of excitement. We have not seen this kind of shift in tone from the Democrats in particular. I can't remember a time where we've been through something like this.
This has been the craziest month in American politics that I can possibly recall. It was less than a month ago that Joe Biden and Donald Trump were debating in the CNN debate.
Less than a month.
Less than a month. We had a failed assassination attempt. We had a president literally saying, no, I'm not going to run for re-election less than a month before the Democratic National Convention. But here is the thing, Sarah Seidner, for all of the excitement that Democrats have over Kamala Harris, it is going to be difficult to beat Donald Trump, and I want to give you an understanding of why. Let's take a look here just first at the favorable views of Donald Trump. We know that Donald Trump has historically been unpopular, but take a look now. After the Republican National Convention, in the ABC News Ipsos poll, he recorded his highest ever favorable rating at 40%. That's not a one-off. Take a look at the Quinnipiac University poll, 46%. That's the highest ever in that pollster. The fact is, Donald Trump is more popular now than he ever has been before. So, yes, Democrats can make this switcheroo, but they're still going to have to beat Donald Trump, a Donald Trump who is stronger, Sarah, than he has ever been before.
It will be interesting to see how voters respond to all of this. Now, how is he doing relative to Harris, who did run at one point? What do those numbers look like?
Yeah, so let's take a look here, right? We've been focusing so much on how Harris was doing better than Biden in the polling, and that's true. If we take a look at the national average, what do we see? We see Donald Trump up by 1. That's a within-the-margin race, right? That's a close race. But remember, of course, in the national popular vote, Democrats tend to do better there than they've done in the Electoral College, at least when Donald Trump has been running for president. So last time around, when Joe Biden barely won in the Electoral College, he actually won the national popular vote by 4 points. So at this point, Donald Trump is running 5 points better. 5, that's a 5 of some sort. 5 points better than he was 4 years ago against Joe Biden. So at this particular point, whether you look at the favorable ratings, whether you look at the horse race polling, we see that Donald Trump is doing significantly better than he was doing 4 years ago at this point. Kamala Harris is going to have to do better than this, of course, if she wants to win the popular vote, but more than that if she wants to win the Electoral College, where she'll likely have to outperform how she's done nationally, because the fact is, if you got to tie it in the national popular vote, that is probably not good enough if you're Kamala Harris and you want to win the election against Donald.
Yeah. Donald Trump is still leading in the popular vote. Now, these are just polls, right? We all have to get out and do our part, and I always want to emphasize that. All these numbers mean absolutely nothing if all of us just sit at home and say, oh, yeah, we got the W in the bag. No. You need to go do your part. Take somebody with you, all right? Encourage one of your family members to ride with you. I don't care. Take somebody with you. Make sure that we get everybody out, okay? Because these numbers mean absolutely nothing. But I won't say absolutely nothing. They mean something. But if we don't go out and do our part, then they will mean nothing. So when you have a situation where you're still losing in the national popular vote, which Kamala would probably have to go +4 plus three or four in order to win the election. She's behind -1. And this is, once again, we're in the honeymoon phase. You know, goo goo gaga, you know, oh my goodness. As they say, black woman, even though she's not black, she's Indian. And she never claimed to be black until she felt it would benefit her trying to get elected. But anyway, I'll spare y'all that whole situation because I'm going to talk about that in another video. But, you know, we're still in the honeymoon phase. So as that wears off, as the rosary glasses wear off, that number is probably going to get worse. I'd be willing to bet come election time, Trump will be, I feel comfortable saying +2, maybe +3, instead of the +1 that he is right now. I feel comfortable saying +2. And if that's the case, it's over. It's cooked. I mean, it's already cooked because he's +1. If Trump wins the popular vote, he's most definitely winning the election. Like, that's just a given. So, yeah, I just... That's one of the things that I think that, you know, people like the Obamas, I feel were really thinking about, because in the back of their mind, they see the same numbers that we do, right? So in the back of their mind, they're thinking, I mean, yeah, we got rid of Joe, but she ain't really a whole lot much better. We're still in the same situation. We're still on a sinking ship. It may not be sinking as fast, but we're still on a sinking ship. It may not be a 5-alarm panic, but there's alarms going off. That's for darn sure. So there's not really a whole lot of difference. And like I said, you know, as more and more information comes out on Kamala and how bad she actually is, she's going to sink even faster. So that's one of the things that I think was really going on behind the scenes, minus the whole, oh my goodness, you know, how they recorded, you know, her phone call with the Obamas, and there happened to be a mic right here on her, and she put the phone on speakerphone, and there happened to be a camera guy there to record the whole situation. Obviously it was staged, even though some people ate that up. You know, they, oh my goodness, the Obamas. Yeah, I saw that online, unfortunately. But the good news is there are a lot of folks who aren't buying the BS. I did see a good number of folks who were like, how corny is this? You know what I mean? Like, this is so cringe. This is trash. Obviously staged. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate to watch people just eat stuff up like that. Like, just, oh my goodness. Oh my. When it's obviously staged. I mean, she literally has a mic right here. She has a camera guy right in front of her recording the whole situation. And then she puts a private conversation on speakerphone. Like, who does that? Who puts a private conversation randomly on speakerphone as they're walking, you know, with a bunch of other people around? Like, nobody does that, you know? So, anyway, y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions on that. But, yeah, I think we're still set to win. We still have some work to do, right? I don't want to ever get complacent. So, let's continue to work. Let's continue to spread the truth. If you want to get more involved, contact Scott Presler, all right? I've given out his information several times, but for those of you that want it again, here, let me pull up his X account. Do that really quickly. Scott Presler. Here we go. So if you want to get more involved, all right, possibly registering people to vote, this is Scott Presler, all right, right here. This is an organization that he created. Right here as well. If you need to pause it so you can go and type in this information to go and follow these accounts if you want to get more involved in ensuring that we keep our great republic. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.